All right, I decided, I've done all this work over here and this area here felt pretty soft, so I poked at it this morning, just now, and you can see it's all pretty chewed up in here. And my motivation, it was all sealed up pretty well, but my motivation was that I still have a handful of that JB Weld Wood Restore. So I figured I'd use that stuff up on this little hole here. For the most part, the rest of this stuff, it's here you can feel the paint is cracking and lifting here, but the wood's good. But this here was, you can hear that, soft. So anyway, yeah, I think what I'm going to do is clean it all out today and soak it down with the liquid wood epoxy and let it wait a couple hours, and then ball up a handful of the JB Weld Wood Restore, mixing company's epoxy products, and see if I can't get this cleaned up and primered. Yeah, and here we go. Did a little bit more excavating here, and just kind of feeling around anywhere that it's a little soft. But at this point, this is just the grout. The wood above seems to be okay. Gotta see all this paint's detached, so that all has to get off anyway. This is the grout. But good news is up in here, it's all, you can feel it. Put your fingernail, doesn't want to move. It's pretty strong stuff. So I just kept working at it until I got all the soft stuff out. Get splinters. And yeah, so looking like a kind of a deep hole down in there now. You can see there's two panels that join together here, and then there's this vertical piece. But yeah, it's not too bad. I just hope I have enough of my magic filler. Otherwise, it's going to be some days for Amazon to deliver. But yeah, here we go. Yeah, so this is the liquid wood product from Abatron. This is this 2-part epoxy, and you pour some in and you mix it up good, and then you use a paintbrush and you paint it all over. I got this package, this little liquid wood epoxy wood restoration package on Amazon. It came with a bunch of stuff like gloves and a little stir stick and a ketchup bottle for spraying for shooting the stuff into holes. The problem is this kit only came with like, a Coke can worth of filler, and I needed a lot more than that. So I ordered this stuff off Amazon. This is their JB Weld Wood Restore Premium Epoxy Putty. It's 2-part. I got a little bit left, so I'm gonna just jam it into this hole here. See how it goes. The liquid wood, you put it on, you let it sit for, I don't know, 2 to 4 hours, and it hardens and it gets kind of sticky, and then you put the filler on it, and the filler bonds with the liquid wood. Different companies, but the chemistries appear to be compatible to me. I don't know, I'll learn a hard lesson if they're not, but main thing is it really toughens up the wood before you put the filler on, so the filler has something strong to bind to. And so just to point out, one of the bad things about this epoxy product is you use it on a brush, you're not cleaning that brush out. Brush is a goner. So use a cheap brush. This is a $1.95 brush. All right, I got it all soaked in there. You can see it's all kind of goopy and dripping with this wood epox stuff. And now I just leave it and let it hang out, and it hardens. And then I jam this stuff in there. Well, sadly, I am not Jesus, and I can't fill a big hole with a small amount of putty. So I put what I had in there, and now I get to try and source some stuff locally. I really should have sanded all this back before I started, but I'm an idiot. All right, and here I am back. I called all around, and the only product I could find in the area is this System 3 sculptwood putty, the part of the Endrot system, and it's the same as the JB Weld, which I have in the big tins there. And it's the same as the abatron. It's some stuff that you scoop out and knead together. So and then this is the stuff I did this morning, and I can say it's pretty hard, but it's not all the way hard. And this epoxy is still slightly sticky like it was before, so I think we're good. And first impression is, whoa, this stuff smells strong, but it smells very similar to the JB Weld stuff. And the JB Weld, this stuff was kind of yellowy, and this was a little whiter. But anyway, I'm gonna grab a little bit, one with each hand, and I'm knead it together and jam it in this here hole. Hope I have enough. And there we go. That's welcome to System 3. Just kept grabbing handfuls out of those little bins and stuffing them in there with my fingers. And I got it all bulged out so that when it hardens, I can go in there with the detail sander and sand it all flat. So that's my hope. Anyway, we'll see. So I guess my impression so far of all these 3 products, I think I like the abatron better. It wasn't as sticky to the gloves as the JB Weld, and then the System 3 was the stickiest one yet. You can see, I think it's this one. This is like all abatron, I think, or JB Weld. So is that one. This was all excavated here, and you can see there's a little bit of caulking that I put underneath the primer along here. Then it rained and made everything dirty. So anyway, this is just the last little section. I figured I'd do it before we painted. I should also say that probably the most important thing is this caulking here. These are direct set windows, and they need a bead of sealant between the wood and the glass. And if that sealant breaks down, the water goes behind, and you can see it was pooling at the bottom of these joints here between the panels and causing the rot. So task for the future is to make sure this caulk stays in good shape. All right, so here we are the next morning, and stuff's hardened up. See, like, here's a little booger. So, well, I can't, yeah, I can make a little bit of a dent with my fingernail in it, but you know, it's a lot harder than the cedar, that's for sure. Anyway, I've got my I got my sander, and I got a heat gun because I was thinking I would have to heat it up to get it fully cooked, but I think it's cooked. It feels easily sandable, so we'll see. Yeah, and so I should point out, if anybody's considering I guess this is called a detail sander or a palm sander, this is the Makita, and I inherited one I've been using for some years, and it finally stopped working. The whole base plate broke away. This is 75 bucks on Amazon, and it came with a case. Yeah, and the neat thing is it has this punch plate, and you stick it over and you push through, and it makes holes in the sandpaper so it can take the dust away. Luckily, all I need is a 90-degree angle to reach those corners. So anyway, if you're looking at a palm sander, this thing's really nice. It's super smooth. So I just hope it lasts. Okay, well, I was sanding and the paper is just loading up instantly. I'm expecting it's supposed to turn into dust, but instead it's just sticking to the paper. And so I hit it with the heat gun. You can see it's kind of turning white here. It's white around the edges, but I think this stuff isn't fully cured. You know, it was in the high 50s last night, and the low was the high 50s. So I don't understand why it's not cured yet. This is, as you saw, this is pretty thick under there. It should have gotten real hot and cooked itself and cured, but I guess not. So anyway, I gave it 5 minutes with the heat gun, and I'll try again. All right, so that's it for the sanding, I think. Got a little bit of a divot here. There's something down there. Not great. Like I said before, I should have sanded it all beforehand. Anyway, now I've got my anhydrous 99% isopropyl, and I just wipe this all down, and takes away the dust, and then 10 minutes or so it'll be dry. I can put the primer on it. But yeah, this didn't come out as well as I hoped. I still don't think this stuff is dry enough. It kind of looks like it didn't cure. It loads up the paper real bad. So we will see. I think, you know, the good news is, now that I have the technology to do this, if it ever looks at me funny and blinks, then I can tear it all out and do it again. No skin off my back. All right, and there we have it. I used this aqua acrylic primer and just cheap ass polyester brush. Yeah, not the greatest, but you know, I've got this cool stuff I can use later called Ready Patch to fill those divots in and then sand it. So this is going to be all right. All right, I'm back again, and the primer's dry. And what I have here is the world famous Ready Patch. Supposedly it's good for outdoor. It's like a spackle, so I can put it all over and fill up these divots. That's actually a divot in the wood here. There's some little sections here I want to fill in. You know, a good person, a quality crafts person, would have sanded all this down and made it perfect, but I'm a lazy jerk, so anyway, we'll see how this goes. Yeah, so here we go. Just kind of lay this stuff around, and you get, I don't know, get a little while to work it. So there's this wood grain up here. And it dries hard. It's smells pretty bad, but not as bad as the original high VOC stuff. And there's a little guy right there. And when it's all dry, which takes, I don't know, less than an hour, then I go at it with the sander. Let's see. Anything else look particularly bad? There's a little. Yeah. Stuff isn't nearly as dangerous as epoxy. All right, I wonder if I should hit those. Those look kind of nasty too. This is just the wood from some trim I made a while ago. Let's see. And it's also not $50 like the epoxy, so don't have to be so precious with it. All right, so that'll dry. I'm gonna clean that up, but that'll dry and then I'll come back and sand it. All right, and that's it. I got the primer on, and yeah, I think it looks good enough for something that's gonna be 10 feet off the ground. Maybe a reasonable bar is that your outside of your house is nicer, not as nice as your furniture inside. All right, and got that coat of primer on just in time. And then, so now, luckily I covered everything up with plastic. I'll give it 3-4 days to cure. Like the primer's already dry under there. This is the bit that I've been working on. Oh shoot! Looks like the plastic got on the primer. Oh, that sucks. Yeah, so I guess I'm just gonna stand out here in the rain and present my conclusions or my experience with these 3 2-part fillers. The first one I used was abatron. I bought a kit that was in an open box on Amazon for $35. It came with 12 ounces of the 2-part filler, which didn't go very far at all. So then I bought a 64-ounce pack of JB Weld premium wood filler. It's the same concept. You take handfuls of these 2 parts and fold them about 25 times. And then I ran out of that stuff and I needed some for this last repair. So I went to the store and I spent $50 on this System 3 structural wood filler. And so in my head, the abatron was the easiest one to use. It was the doughiest, it was the cleanest. It was the one that came with the epoxy to glue it into the wood. And the chemistries are compatible. So, you know, if I had to do something like this again, I could be convinced to buy the whole Abatron package. The JB Weld, I was able to get an open box 64 ounce for $35, which is a killer deal. And I don't mind that stuff, although it does seem to dry quickly. I forgot to mention the Abatron, it was still soft after 12 hours. I used a heat gun on it. The last product I used was the System 3. And that product didn't seem to cure overnight. It was kind of wet. The sandpaper loaded up. It wasn't really natural to sand, like the JB Weld and the Abatron were. I think the Abatron is probably the easiest to sand. The JB Weld was second. I don't think I'd buy the System 3 again. Maybe for furniture indoors, because it has a very fine grain. Yeah, but anyway, I got high hopes for this repair. I think this is all going to be locked away for another 20 years.